There we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Harvey here with my co-host and billionaire sister from another mister, Julia Patterson, with this edition of Success with Dynamic Duo. Welcome. Fasten your seatbelts. I don't know what we're in store for today, but just fasten your seatbelts because I've been off the grid for a little while as I'm having some health challenges that we're dealing with. But hey, today we're here to provide some serious value. Stay tuned. Julia, take it away. It's going to be a great day.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome, everyone. Appreciate you being here. And Mike, thank you for joining us today. I don't know if you know this or not, but the three of us are fellow Albertans, and you could be in for some trouble here because we love to have fun. So Mike actually lives in Calgary as well, and so I'm really excited to have him here today. And Mike has been a married man for about 21 years. He's got a daughter who's 14, and his background is mainly in sales and management. And I'm going to let Mike tell his story, but he's been through some really interesting times too, and he's learned how to motivate and inspire himself and to pull himself up from those hard times, right? So that's what we're all about, is motivation and inspiration and just moving forward every day. So Mike, if you would be so kind as to tell us your story, whatever you want to share, because I know sometimes people don't want to open up totally, right? And any aha moments you've had along the way and anything that keeps you motivated and inspired every day. So
you bet, Julia. First off, thanks for having me today.
Awesome.
I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come and meet with you guys. There's so many aha moments as you go through life, right? So like you said, my background is mainly sales and the management kind of side of things. The last traditional kind of job I had was I was in the investment industry, in the private equity investment industry. Mm-hmm. And we sold investments that were like commercial real estate and private income funds and land banking and cool stuff, in my opinion. And when that was going, it was really good, right? But then what happened was 2008 rolled around, 2008, 2009. And we all know that was a big housing crash. And at that point, there was no more money coming into that business, right? Because everybody was just hanging on to anything they had because everything was going so badly. I mean, it was probably not as bad in Canada as it was in the US, but it was still bad, you know? And what happened was I watched that company that I was with fold and go under because there was no money coming in. So all the people that were working there were out of their jobs. And to make a long story short, I got in a huge legal battle with one of the investments that we promoted was commercial real estate. And we promoted for a certain company who ended up being, the investments were good, but let's say the management was not quite up to par. So I ended up leading a legal fight against them to keep our properties because they were trying to liquidate and get out of everything. And it took a year of my life, and it was horrible going through that. It was such an ugly process to watch, like how dirty things could get in life. And I knew that I was done. I didn't want to work for anyone anymore. I wanted to call my own shots and do my own things. And that was my breaking point for starting to do that. So what happened was one of my investors at the time, when all of this was going down, introduced me to this company. She said, hey, what are you doing tonight? Why don't you come on out and check something out? And I'm like, okay, she's one of my investors, right? I'm not going to, if they're inviting me to something, I'm going to go. So I went to this thing, and it was a network marketing company presentation. It started late. It went long, and it was hot in that room. I'd already worked all day long, and the thing went really late. But I saw a vision of it, and I could see that that's something that could work, in my mind. And it was that night, and the funny thing was, I was sitting there, and her upline, as you call it, was sitting a little ways back. And as soon as the presentation was over, boom, the upline was over there trying to close me into the deal, right? And I'm like, just relax, lady. I'm going to do this. I'm not doing it tonight. It's late. I haven't eaten. Get away from me. So the next morning, I called my investor friend there, and she came by our office, and I got involved. That was the very first network marketing company I got involved with. And keep in mind that was, around that 2009 level where things like these Zoom hangouts and all this stuff it wasn't there, right? It was still old school kind of stuff. So not a lot of good training, just like, talk to everybody within arm's reach and whatever else, gotta recruit. So time went on. I did every stupid thing you could think of, from dropping flyers and like actually going to a small town where I knew they didn't have flyer delivery service. So myself and another guy who got involved in that company with me, we designed these flyers and we thought they were the coolest things ever. And we rented a little room in a hotel. We went out with these flyers and we picked a bunch of different communities, dropped these flyers off, and had people call us to reserve their seats to come and see a presentation for what we were doing and how they could change their lives, right? So we did that. We did that a few times. I think the first one we got 9 people there, which is, I thought that was pretty cool. And nobody signed up. That's okay. And then we had another presentation, and I think there was like 4 or 5 people, and nobody came on board. And then the third one we had, we were sitting there, nobody showed up. It was an empty room, and we were about to clean up, and then in comes this lady. And right at that time, we're like, okay, if you want to see it, we're going to give you the full presentation, right? So we did that, and the funny thing is she liked it. She really liked what she saw. She caught the vision as well. So she got involved, and then it was just a few days later, she was coming to Calgary for something, so we met, and she told me that her husband was absolutely dead set against it. Get my money back. Get me out of this thing. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, whoa, here you go. Take care. Who knew, right? So you kept going with that, and obviously that didn't work. And promoting people, inviting people to these meetings, you find out a little while later, I didn't know anything about network marketing, right? Or this company or anything. And it just looked like something cool. I didn't know there was a gazillion network marketing companies out there. I didn't know the difference between one from the other. As time went on, started to see some cracks in this company that services were shoddy at best. And then they were starting to lean towards products. And I didn't really want to get involved in a product company. So ended up leaving that company and focusing on a different company, which is all service related, right? And at that point, I got to work with a mentor. First time I got into a company, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody that I could really, really learn from. The second one I got into, he was actually a top level guy, like about as high as you can get within the last company he was with. And he moved over here and he was starting a new team. And I thought, for me, you know what, that's probably a great learning experience. I'm going to learn something from this guy, right? So I looked at the company. I liked the company. I liked the things that they had. And I started working with this guy. And what I found out was he was more about hype, right? Hype. Just hype everybody into this business. Just blah, 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 get really excited and blow them in. And I don't operate like that, right? So that was all good. That was all fine. He would bring people into this business, and then it would be a frenzy of activity. But then when the smoke kind of disappeared, you'd have to sit down with these people and say, look, this is the reality of what's going to happen here. This is what you're going to need to do. It's not just money that comes flying out of the sky because you signed up, right? So that was all good. I stayed with that company and I kept working it, while my mentor, he actually left and went on to do something else. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. And I kept working it, and I had some success. I built up a small team. I watched it kind of fade away, and then I built it up again, and never really got big traction out of that. So it was kind of I was having those moments where, like, is this thing going to work? This is after a couple of years of working it, and I wanted it to work, but there was something that I wasn't able to kind of get that momentum going. So funny thing is, I really believe in the universe kind of intervening in things. And I was introduced to another fella, and he was he's still a great friend today. He was a multi-millionaire from network marketing, right? He did it back in the 80s and the 90s in another company, and he'd retired from that company, kind of went and traveled the world, lived his life and enjoyed it, and he wanted to come back because he missed it. and he wanted to do his one final rodeo, you could call it, right? So I got to meet him and chat with him, and I started. I ended up leaving that one company because he wasn't with that, and I wanted to work with this guy because from what I had learned, there were some things that I was missing, like online marketing, about using these, like building if it's a home-based business, why can't you build it from home, right? That's kind of and my philosophy is if I can't make a living from sitting in front of my computer for the most part, then it's not a home-based business. Like I'm okay with doing things like going to a networking event. I used to go to all kinds of networking events and all that stuff. They're not something I do now, but it's what I did, right? And I got to work with this fella, and he was all about like mindset, right? It's your mindset. Your mindset is what really gets you going, and it's working on you and your mindset. That is the number one priority in this industry, right? In any industry, right? If you want to get to the top, you got to be able to phase out anything else that's around there and basically have your vision created and know where you're going and not let obstacles get in your way. So working with that guy was it was a real breath of fresh air for me. Like I say, we're still friends. We still chat. I did end up going a different route. I kind of, it's actually last year, I started thinking, maybe this network marketing thing is, I'm not sure about it, right? So I made a change and I went to affiliate marketing. Mm-hmm. So basically, affiliate marketing is sell something and get a commission. And if somebody likes it and they want to sell too, you can earn a little bit off them, right? So I started learning about the affiliate kind of side of things. And that was new to me as well. I didn't really understand it. It has a lot of similarities to network marketing, but it is very different. A lot of times, you look at who's in the marketplace, like who's doing these kinds of things. And I mean, there's some big names out there, right? And these big names, they make big money because they've been around for a long time. They've learned what to do and how to do it. And it's nice to learn from those guys. And I actually got involved with one of these, you could call him a super affiliate. He's a mentor, coach, and friend to me now, right? And he's been around the space. You've interviewed him. He's been around this space for 14 years, and he really kind of opened my eyes to the real internet marketing and how to do it, right? As far as lead generation, as far as following ups, as far as, using email responders and using the right wording and all these things for promoting whatever it is you're doing. He does multiple things, right? But that's because he's been around long enough that he can do that, right? He has this massive monster list that most people don't have, right? And that's fair. So learning from this guy, you kind of really learn how to do things from an internet-based point of view, right? Which is what I wanted to do. Going back to I want to earn my living sitting in front of my computer, right? And the cool thing is I started learning about the cryptocurrency market or Bitcoin, right? So at first I thought for the longest time ever, like how can a virtual currency be real? Like to me, it just sounded just weird, right? It didn't make any sense. And I refused to think of it as something that is real. And I started to have a shift on it because you start doing a little bit of research and all of a sudden you can see how things are changing in the world, right? And I finally opened up to it and I finally started to learn and research and find out where this is and what's going on with it. And that's kind of where I have shifted my focus to now, is all in basically these virtual currencies, cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins. So I do a few different things in there right now. I still have other couple programs from before that are still running as well. But the things I'm doing right now, this morning I was up at 4:30 a.m. Not because my alarm went off, but because my eyes open up. I'm like, poof, and I can't stop thinking about it, right? And I have to get on my computer and I have to see what's going on. And it's just, it's super, super exciting. I'm so glad that I finally opened up to it, started to learn about it and move it forward from there. So that catches you up from where I was to where I am.
That's pretty huge, Mike. And you know what? I think probably my story is very similar, and I know lots of people whose are, but the big thing from what I can gather from your story is that you kept learning. You didn't give up. And a lot of people think that you go online and you get it into a home-based business. They forget about the work part, like network marketing, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that it's just people expect it's going to happen right away. And I mean, you're a perfect example that, you really worked. And it doesn't always happen because you're not in the right space. And I'm saying not just space as in the business, but also space here. Because if we can't, take those things we've learned and apply them daily, then it makes a huge difference in our results. I like to think of it as when I was going through a lot of my stuff, and I mean, I'm going through stuff all the time. I'm dealing with things, but it feels like my bucket was this big, and now it's gotten this big as I've learned. Okay, Sean, this big.
I got multiple buckets.
There you go. And as we learn and we grow, our bucket gets bigger so we can put more. It'll fill up, and it fills up with the things that we're focused on. Right? So if we're focused on lack, we're focused on what we don't want, we're focused on all those negative things, we fill it with that without even realizing it. So it's pretty scary when you learn that and you think about, man, no wonder so much crap used to happen in my life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The universe will give you whatever you want, good or bad, right? You decide what it's going to be. That's just the way it is.
That's exactly. I mean, and stuff does happen, right? I mean, there's been a couple things that have happened in my life over the last week, and it's like, where did this come from? But it's not what happened, it's how I'm dealing with it, because it's not taking me out, which is what it used to do.
Yeah.
So have you guys ever had anything like that happen where, you kind of realize like, man, I've given all my power and all my energy to that, and that's not what I want anymore?
Oh yeah. I've done that a ton of times, right? Especially, a long time ago. It's now I have my mindset is different now. I don't look at anything that goes wrong as a failure. It's a learning process, right? I learn from it and I move on. It's not everything in life works out. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter whether you're working on the internet or whether you're digging ditches over there. It's life is not. It doesn't just do this, right?
No, that's right.
That's the way it goes, man. Life, it's a journey.
Let's think about the light bulb. How many times did they?
10,000 times before you found the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the biggest challenge with most people is there's too much space in between here. They're just coasting through life. They go to work, they go home, they get a jug of milk, they get a bread, they go home. And they just keep doing that same thing over and over and over again. And they don't actually think about all the great stuff that life could provide it to them based on their thoughts, their words, and their emotions around all the craziness going on in their lives. They're too busy chasing a paycheck. And that's why I say that there's so much space in between there. And that's the hardest part of life and business is the 6 inches in between our two ears.
Yep.
What you think about, you bring about. Your thoughts become things. And if you're thinking about, I'm just going to go to work and make a paycheck, well, then you're not worried about, okay, am I going to be able to go around the other side of the world and visit the Philippines and see how beautiful it is? Most people haven't even been outside their own frickin' province, city, state, or country. And it's really, really, really sad that, when they see these pictures on the national degree, that's fine, but I don't have the money and I can't do it. And you can do anything you put your mind to. We all can. We all have challenges. I have truckloads of challenges in my life. And I used to be a transport driver, and I used to hear it all the time from all the guys that were doing it longer than me. Oh, you know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And, I'm already done. My days are done. I'm just here, just coasting by. I'm almost done. It's like, really? What kind of leadership are you providing your children if you just, that's where the introvert extrovert comes about, And I'm an extrovert. Most of my family's introverts. I don't know where the hell it came from. I'm just like, I don't know. It just kind of one day God kind of slapped me inside the head and said, you need to be that person, that you need to change your family's legacy so that you can end whatever's gone on in your family's life, to show people that it is possible. Anything is possible when you have the right mindset, the right people that are in your circle. Your network is your net worth. You know, if you don't have the means and you become resourceful, you can do whatever you want. You can raise millions of dollars for a worthy cause. You can do all of those things. And thanks for bringing that up, Mike. I appreciate you saying that. But people need to stretch more, get more uncomfortable, lose a little bit of money in whatever they're doing to say, hey, you know what? Most people lose enough money every single month anyways, that they don't use their lives and their financial situation as a business to be held more accountable to the money that they waste on beer, cigarettes, and all the other stuff that they do. Rather than say, hey, how can I create a legacy for my family so that when I'm not here, or a stream of income that when I'm sleeping is still making me money, rather than the 24 hours a day and going to a job. And very good mentor of mine, Warren Buffett, who I will meet before he passes away at some point in time in my life in the near future. He says, if you're not learning how to make money while you sleep, you work until you die.
Yep, got to leverage.
And that so sat with me many years ago. It's been 13 years now, almost 14 years that I started the entrepreneurial journey. And it's dips and valleys, dips and valleys, dips and valleys. But I see the mountaintop coming very, very soon, as you, as Julia as well do. It's all about what you focus on. Rather than focus in the rear view mirror of what's happened in your life and have that pity party, focus on the attitude of gratitude. Be thankful for what you do have, not for what you don't have. And I think that's so critical to our humanity and well-being, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the future, to say, hey, you know what? I'm okay with being an extrovert. I'm okay with being loud and proud about what I want to do in my life and my business to help other people. And there's not enough of that. People go around all the time and, oh, that guy's talking too much. Why is he talking so much? Oh my God. I mean, I'll give you an example. Last night I was at the MRI place. There's a little 2-year-old that reminded me when I was a 2-year-old. He was talking and he was high, and he's a little Filipino, right? So his mom's a Filipino and his dad's a Caucasian guy. And he's just going on. That just reminded me of when I was a child. I was hyperactive for whatever reason it was, that we're all created uniquely different from the good Lord. And if we were all the same, it'd be pretty boring out here.
You got that right.
Right? So you gotta have that purpose. Most people don't know what a purpose is. They just kind of coast along. They don't reach out to people. They don't talk. They just kind of going on and on and on. And just, they come to the end of their life and they go, I wish I could have done it all over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my whole entire point is, we only have one life to live. There's no do-overs. We got to make the best of it and get around the people that want to inspire you to do something better for your life and for others, so that you can feel more fulfilled and not just kind of coast and settle. Yeah,
exactly. You know, every day you see, whether it's family members or friends or other people, just kind of going through the motions, and you know that I can't change them. I have no intention of changing them. But, you know, if anybody wants to, hey, this is me, this is what I do. If you want to go on that journey, great. If you don't, that's great too. I'm cool with that, right? I have, you know, family members that would never do what I do, and that's fine. But, you know, putting them on a path of, you know, their own kind of getting their mindset right and everything else, is I'm happy to just, hey man, you should check out this book, watch this, do this. It'll help you. It'll help whatever it is you're doing. It'll help no matter what, right? You don't have to do what I'm doing. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. And you just passed Mind Reading 101. Because I was just going to ask you what you do to motivate and inspire yourself.
I don't worry about, especially now with what I'm doing, I really don't worry about what people think, or whether people are interested, or whether they want to learn more, or anything. It doesn't matter to me, because in the end, nobody pays my bills except me. That's right. And my wife helps out too. But my kid's expensive.
Yeah.
So in the end, it doesn't matter, right? What matters is what's in here for me and my life and my family's life. And that's the important thing. I don't, I don't go preaching what I do to everybody and try to pound it in their heads. I don't do that. That's not who I am. That's not how I act. Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing is when you start doing something that you're excited about and it's reaping your results and things are going up and up and up, people just start to feel that, and then it's like, well, so what is it you're doing? Well, let's chat, right?
See, Mike hasn't used the words his why, but you can tell by the way he talks, he's got a huge purpose, a huge vision. He's passionate about what he does. He's found what he's meant to do in his life. And when that happens, if you haven't picked up on it from him or Sean or myself, and Joanne's just sitting there not saying nothing, but and you can participate, Joanne. You're welcome to do that, right? But when you have that about you, people are attracted to you. When you know what you're doing is right for you, that you're on that path, people are attracted to you. And Sean, like probably all four of us, we don't care what people think, because you know what? The right people that are supposed to be walking that journey with us will be attracted to us. We're going to touch those lives that we're meant to touch. I feel it deep within myself, and I've got goosebumps all over saying that, because that's my sign that I'm actually saying what I'm supposed to say. So I know Sean gets them too, but it is really important, and it changes everything about your life. Mike, Sean and I were just talking like how we don't get much sleep. It's like
Sleep's
my eyes go
overrated.
bing, 4:15 this morning. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm still tired.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The biggest challenge that I've seen is most people logically go through life. They don't emotionally go through life. See, when we have a job, we have no problems on breaking commitments with our wives, with our kids, with our special commitments for our God kids, whatever. Sorry, can't do it. I got to go to work because I'm focused on the paycheck. They're not focused on the why and the emotional, you know what, I can't go and break my little girl's heart for not showing up at her dance recital because I'm the only dad that would probably be there. And I had that scenario when my son was in elementary a few years back. I mean, he's soon to be 16, so that was 5-6 years ago now. And it was, the teacher had been a teacher for 27 years, and there was 2 moms that would always show up to events for the kids during the day. I was the only dad out of 27 years of her being a teacher. She pulls me to the side and she says to me, she says, Mr. Harvey, I've been a teacher for 27 years in the Catholic Society of Edmonton, and I've not once had one dad show up. Do you actually work? And I'm like, yeah, I actually do work. I work from home, I work for myself, and I make decisions based on the people that I love the most. So my business is always open, and I take personal time when I need to take personal time. And guess what? This happens to be one of those times where I'm going to take personal time so I can go to the farm that you guys had your field trip on, even though I'm allergic to every freaking thing on the farm. I did it for my kid. And she's like, wow. And we had a conversation afterwards, and I planted a seed. How many people out there would love to learn how to plant that seed so they can control the time rather than make excuses that they got to work overtime and they can't be at the important things in their lives? See, I know this. If we don't make time for the things that are important to us, we will not be late for our own funeral because we will be the first one there. And people are just like blown away that I would say that, but that's the reality. If you don't make time for the most important people in your life, guess what? We're all here on borrowed time. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed 5 hours from now. Your life, their life could be pulled from your life in a blink of an eye, and it's game over. And I've had somebody that passed away a few months back that I used to work with. It was a very good friend of mine. His own son didn't even make the funeral because he was too busy having a spat because I didn't agree with my dad and blah, blah, blah. Now he's going to live with the rest of his life not making up to his dad because of the choices that he made. Don't be that person. We're here on borrowed time. Make the best of every day. Live the life to the fullest every day as it's your last, and you will be forever blessed.
Yep, for sure.
So, Mike, do you have any last words that you would like to impart upon us? Any wisdom?
You know what? If you're on a journey right now, you know, you're trying to transition out of something, or you're just trying to make a life change yourself, just stay on the path. If you don't know what you're doing or how to do it, then reach out to somebody that does, because there's a gazillion people out here that will help you, right? And they're not just with their hands out looking for money. There's a ton of knowledge out here. Get with the right people, get in the right circles, and start to understand that working on yourself first is first and foremost, right? You got to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, dude, I love you, and I'm going to do this for you, you know, or understand your why. Like my why is when you talk about my why, it's my wife and my daughter, and it'll bring tears to my eyes almost every time I think about it, right? Because that's why I do what I do. Is it a little bit for myself? Sure it is, right? There's a mountain and I want to climb it. That's all there is to it. And I know that if I just sit back and do nothing, nothing will change. That's just the way it is. So if you are starting on this journey, if you're feeling frustrated, then reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. Reach out to Julia. Reach out to Sean. And ask, you know, what's going on? How do I do this? How do I blah, blah, blah. People will lead you into the path that you want to go on. The universe will, like I said earlier, the universe will bring you anything you want, good or bad. You decide what you're going to put out there, though. So if all you're thinking about is negative thoughts, this won't work and that won't work, blah, 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 guess what? It's not going to work, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're focused on making a change for yourself, for your family, for whatever it is, then you got to get after it, right? And it's not you want to just get after it. That makes sense.
Do it like your life depends on it.
Exactly.
Because it just
does.
You're going to want it bad enough as you want to breathe, because guess what? I know when the oxygen goes up in your chest and you can't breathe, guess what? You start to panic. This is no different. Your life must depend on it. You must be willing to give your life for it to get it.
Yeah.
It'll change the legacy that you may leave or you won't leave based on the decisions you make.
And don't let a roadblock stop you, right? It's just a Y in the road. Figure it out. Go left, go right. Don't just stop. Keep going.
No door there, bust the wall down and make a freaking door. Exactly.
Like not everything in life is going to work. We were talking earlier, right? This is life. That's the way it is, man.
Yeah.
You're going to have highs, lows, and in-betweens. So you just need to...
Like the stock market. It goes up, we'll come down.
It's just the way it is.
But remember, ladies and gentlemen, when there's a storm, what usually ends up happening afterwards? The rainbow and the sun. So if you're going through a storm right now in your life, we all do, think positively that it will subside and the sun will come out, and there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when the sun comes out. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Joan. We appreciate you. We love you. We want to go make a lot of money and help a lot of people make a lot of money changing their lives. It's not about the money. Money's not everything, but if you don't have it, it's everything. Let's go make a difference in the world and end poverty around this nation, because poverty is a tool of mass destruction. Nothing good comes from it. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you on the next edition of Success with Dynamic Duo. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for your
much.
time, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.